over groups in the world. They're called Il Divo. They've sold 30 million albums, more accolades and awards than you can poke a stick at. They've done performances for presidents and royals, and yet they're so decent. They've still found time to talk to you and me today here at ABC Radio. Please welcome Il Divo. I have Urs Bueller, Carlos Marin, David Miller and Sebastian Isambard. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Whoa.
Here I am. Here we are.
You were singing along to Dolly Parton and Sia's Here I Am. It sounded
Such a beautiful tune.
Can you share your vocal interpretation of that one?
Yeah, of course. Here I am.
Here I am. No, we're shy. But it was such a beautiful, what a track.
Oh, I
and
know.
Sia on it sounds amazing.
I know, incredible. Well, you all have incredible voices. You're still inspired by other singers, obviously. You've written a brand new album, which is a cover of classic tracks, but also new ones as well. We're going to hear you doing a version of Adele's Hello very soon. Are you still inspired by other singers, even though you've been doing this for a while?
Of course. You know, music is a language that's shared by everyone. And, you know, when we're trying to put together a new song or a new album, we always draw our inspiration from other acts and other artists.
When you come to Australia, this is not your first time. This is many times in Australia. Do you look forward to making the long plane trip over the waters?
Well, we actually just landed this morning.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. We're here. We're in Perth. Yeah, well, just about. We had about 3 hours of sleep and did a little bit of promo, just setting foot here. Yeah.
Here we are.
Here I am, half asleep. Here I am. Cannot speak. Here I am.
We got a rioter here in the house.
So fun. When you do the long haul flying, though, do you watch movies? Do you try and catch up on sleep? Your schedule is so hectic.
It's pretty crazy, but generally speaking, what we try to do is get as much rest as possible, and also enjoying the moment. You know, when that happens to us, we got offered to do some promo. We said, yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's been such a long time. We haven't been here in Australia. How can we not want to enjoy, you know, beautiful moments like that and meet people and talk about what we love the most? Music.
Yeah, the great binder between us all, I think. Music is often our major connector. I think about your past and how it all began. You've been at it since the early 2000s. You all had your own individual careers before you came together as a group. Could you have ever envisaged what was to become of Il Divo from those early days? What did you think when super producer Simon Cowell, who we know from Britain's Got Talent, a manager of many very famous acts, what did you think as young men when he came to you with the idea of Il Divo? How did he sell it to you and what has it become for you?
It's funny, I mean, in my case, I'm Carlos, I'm the Spanish one, so I didn't know him at all. So when I did my audition, I was in Dublin doing opera. And I never expect, have a huge line of people with a number there, and then suddenly after waiting my moment, they asked me if I would love to be part of a band. I said no, and then Simon Cowell himself, he called me. He said, "Hello, Carlos. This is Simon. How you doing? I would like to invite you to London." And I said, "Oh, okay. Who are you?" So I just went to London.
I love that. Who are you?
Yeah, really. So when I went to London, I said, well, he just convinced me with the music, and I left everything, and here I am. Here I am.
That's true. What about the rest of you? What did you think in those early days? Did you have any idea that this is where it would end up?
No, I don't think any of us really had the faintest inkling that we would be on such a massive worldwide platform. You know, I think it was really it was a grand experiment 15 years ago, and he happened to put the four of us in a room, and something just happened. Something clicked. I don't know if it was the four personalities or our four cultural backgrounds or musical backgrounds or whatever it was, but something clicked, and all of a sudden the music started taking on a life of its own. And we just took it one step at a time, one day at a time, one track at a time, one tour at a time, and never really kind of wavering from that giving it everything that we've got. And, you know, we turn around and 15 years has flown by, and here we are, you know, still enjoying a tremendous success with all of this, and getting to, you know, stand up in front of fans all around the world, and being here in Australia. You know, we, as Sebastian said before, we haven't been here for a while. So to come back and be able to reconnect with our fans down here, it's just wonderful.
And it's a very different prospect now for Il Divo, in that you look after much more your own creative output and releasing things yourselves. You've ditched the ways of doing things from the past. What made you want to do that? Did you want more creative control?
Well, the thing is, our relationship with the record company, you know, with Psycho and Simon Cowell, has just kind of come to a natural end. And we all thought, we just want to carry on with this because we love this, and there's so much beautiful music out there still that we can interpret. So we just took things completely in our own hands and sat together, thought up a concept for the new album, Timeless, made the A&R, chose all the songs. We've thought, you know, we've been doing this for 15 years, so we know loads of studios, producers, arrangers, so let's just call these people ourselves and say, hey, we want to do an album, we want it to be the greatest thing we've ever done, and let's get to work all together. So we did that, and then we were lucky as well. Once the album was actually done, Decca Gold came on board and signed us for a license deal, because you do need that, you know, because you can record great music, but it's still got to go out there somehow. And they're supporting us now, and also they're very proactive here in Australia, which is fantastic. But it's great, really, to be completely in control. Sebastian said that earlier this morning as well. It's actually much easier because it's the four of us taking the decisions pretty much. So you have got very few people only to count with, you know, and to you don't have to listen to everybody's ideas, you know, you can actually take decisions.
And also, at a certain point in anyone's career, in any job that they do, it's good to refresh. I think, you know, that was then, and you need to make a choice as to whether or not you go forward. And when you do that, it's great to have something that's fresh, that changes the way you deal with your everyday. Do you feel like this has helped with that?
Certainly. I mean, yeah, we are. I think you notice it even up into the live shows, because we're in the live show. We perform all 10 tracks from the new album, and I just think
you'd
as
never
an
do that
audience
before.
member. No, we've never done that. Not a whole new album. It's in its entirety.
Because that's against the rule book, really, isn't it? In as a recording artist, people will say you can't play all the songs from your brand new album. You just can't. But in actual fact, you can, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
Well, especially with an album like this, where every single track on the album is massive and iconic. I mean, the concept for it was we wanted to go back through and take one song from every decade, going back as far as recorded music, and just pick one track that all four of us loved and would love to sing, and that our audience, we thought, would love to hear. So, you know, there's not one single weak track on the album, and my opinion, it's our best album since our debut album.
I agree.
Brilliant, and it comes 15 years into your career. That must feel good.
It does. What a relief.
Well, I think you know you can do it by now. But as you said, you all chose the tracks. Talk through some of your favourites and why you chose them.
My favorite is Unforgettable, because what I like about it is a very beautiful melody with incredible words, and things that somehow I find along the way in pop music has been lost sometimes where we make this possible music. And I find that's a really beautiful piece of music, and I love I love the way it sounds. It's very timeless to me, in my opinion.
Was that the prerequisite for the record? They had to sound timeless?
Well, the idea is actually you wouldn't be able to tell the track from Adele, Hello, which we did in Spanish, Hola, wouldn't sound necessarily like from now, and the sound from Smile, you know, from the 30s would be very homogeneous. How do you say homogeneous?
Homogeneous.
Homogeneous. That's what I meant. Sorry, I'm still French at the end of the day.
It's okay.
Homogeneous.
Homogeneous.
Exactly. It's from the rest of the album, and the color is there. You couldn't tell when the song was written or when it was arranged, and that's what I like.
Yeah. You obviously all of you get along quite well. I can hear it in the room. You have a nice time together. How have you managed to do that? I mean, being in a group of any sort is difficult, or being in a marriage or a partnership is difficult. How do you keep it? How do you keep the marriage alive, or the friendship alive in what is essentially probably a very high pressure work situation?
We're like an old couple. It's true,
A very stable
Yeah,
old couple.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not every marriage lasts for 15 years.
I tell you. So yeah, I mean, it's has been. We had difficult times at the beginning because obviously we were using English as the main language to understand each other.
What did you say?
I don't know. So imagine with my terrible English, so we had a lot of misunderstanding. But now after 15 years to be together, it's like really like a family. We understand each other fantastic well. We just need to sometimes to even look into each other's eyes, and we just know what the hell we're gonna say. So sorry, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it's true.
You're all communicating via telepathy. Is that telepathic?
When we're angry with each other.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that must be so reassuring, though, to know that you're at that point in your relationship as musicians, and you'll be able to keep moving forward. You haven't had those difficulties that say other groups have had. You've got that connection, and that would be special.
Absolutely. And, you know, as I said earlier, it's been when we took on the whole task of self-producing our next album, we thought we've still got so much to give, and we still feel like that. We're kind of a few months into this tour. It's going to take us now up till Christmas and then most through next year again, but we're completely racking our brains about what's next, you know. We're really excited about choosing new repertoire, coming up with a new concept, already thinking about how we're going to put it on stage while we still got a year to go on this tour. So, yeah, we're very excited about it.
So what happens on this tour with Il Divo this time around? What will people see?
Don't tell them, David.
We sing.
Yeah, good to know.
God.
Good to know.
He said it.
But that's it's been a few years since we've been back to Australia. We've made some pretty interesting changes to how we tour. I think the most significant change is that we have decided to include solo numbers because the four of us were put together because of what we were doing in our solo careers when Simon found us. And it's only in the last, this tour and the one previous where we decided, hey, you know, maybe we should let the audience kind of get a taste of who we are as individuals, and just let each one of us have the space to take the stage and just do what we would do were we not in Il Divo. And it really adds something to the show. Sebastian sings something off of his solo album that he released very recently.
That's an inside joke, actually.
Carlos sings a song that was the first song he ever performed in public when he was a child.
Irrelevant.
Urs sings a song from one of his favorite operas, as do I. And it really just, it breaks up the show and adds a different dimension. And the Australians have yet to see that. So I think that's the most interesting thing we're bringing here.
Oh, it sounds fabulous. The concerts will take place all around the country, kicking off tomorrow night. That's October 16 at Perth Arena in Perth. October 18, Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Friday, October 19 at Hodder, the home of the arts on the Gold Coast. October 20 on Saturday at the Derwent Entertainment Centre in Tasmania. October 23, Margaret Court Arena in Melbourne. October 24 at the AIS in Canberra. And October 25 at the ICC in Sydney. And then what next for Il Divo? Do you get a holiday? It's been a long world tour.
Oh, God, no. We go to New Zealand after this. After New Zealand, we go to Helsinki.
Then Russia.
very next door, straight on stage after we land, and then we go to Russia, then we go to South Africa, then we go to the US until December 22nd.
And then to Mexico and back
And
to
then
US.
Merry Christmas, and then after that
When do you
have
get a
some more.
holiday? When do you get a holiday? How do you relax?
Now this is the holiday
Christmas.
with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to think that this is a tropical island paradise for the mind. So,
Well, your voice feels like it.
oh,
Yeah,
fantastic. And thank you for sharing your version of the Dolly Parton and Sia song. I really appreciate it. But I wish you all the best for the Australian tour, and
Thank you.
we'll see you on stage.
Absolutely.
sure.
Looking forward to it.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
I'm going to play your version of Adele's Hello right now, and it is a beauty. You've sung it in Spanish. Why did you choose to sing it in Spanish?
Well, usually when we choose a cover, I mean, we just try to do it like for us. So we just thought, okay, let's do it in Spanish. So we go a little away from the original version. So that's why we choose Spanish, and also because since we started, I think Spanish was the most sexy language ever.
Also, the style that we use, it sounds better in the way than sometimes using English with this big operatic voices. It doesn't necessarily work.
All right. It works on this. So this is beautiful. This is Il Divo. See you around the country. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Bye-bye.